Hello and welcome back to another video where today I'm going to be going over everything we know about Assassin's Creed Valhalla Dawn of Ragnarök. So Dawn of Ragnarök is the next big DLC that is releasing for Assassin's Creed Valhalla following last year's Wrath of the Druids and the Siege of Paris, and it is also a part of the second year of DLC that is planned for Assassin's Creed Valhalla that started off with the crossover stories that started in December with Cassandra. This is a first for any Assassin's Creed game, as normally they only get 1 year of post-launch content before the new game is out, but as Valhalla sold incredibly well, Ubisoft have decided to give it a second year of post-launch content. Dawn of Ragnarök will release on the 10th of March and it will cost around £35, which is about $40 in America, and it will not be available as a part of the season pass which is currently available, so if you want the DLC you will have to purchase it separately. At this time it is still unclear whether Ubisoft will announce a year 2 season pass, but I thought if they would announce it at the same time as Dawn of Ragnarök, so I'm guessing if there are any more big DLCs planned then they will be standalone just like Dawn of Ragnarök is. If you end up pre-ordering Dawn of Ragnarök, then you also get the Twilight Pack for free, and I will show a picture of what comes in the Twilight Pack on the screen now. The story in Dawn of Ragnarök is reportedly supposed to be around 35 hours long. Now I'm not entirely sure how accurate that is, because obviously depending how skilled you are at the game, what level you are and what level your weapons are at, you could probably do it quicker. So I think the 35-hour projection is probably for people who maybe haven't played Valhalla before, or they're just hopping into the DLC earlier on. So I'm sure maybe if you are more skilled at the game you can probably do it quicker. As 35 hours seems great for a DLC, but considering the length of the story in Valhalla is around 50 to 60 hours and most of it seems very long, hopefully in the DLC it's streamlined, because the last thing I want is to be playing a DLC and the game forces me to level grind or just do side stuff rather than the actual main story. And I think most people would agree with me on that. So the DLC is being made by Ubisoft Sophia, who also made Assassin's Creed Liberation and Rogue, and they were also the people who created the Curse of the Pharaohs DLC for Assassin's Creed Origins. The head writer for the DLC is Giles Armstrong. He is the lead writer on Destruction All-Stars, which I haven't played and I don't think it had much of a story, or at least they didn't promote it in the marketing. And he also helped out on Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, and from the amount I played of it I did really enjoy the story, so hopefully he will do a good job with Dawn of Ragnarök. So Dawn of Ragnarök follows on from the stories that were put forward in the Jotunheim and Asgard arcs of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. In an interview with Ubisoft Sophia, they said that you don't need to have played the Jotunheim and Asgard arcs in order to play Dawn of Ragnarök, which is good because if people have bought the DLC then they can go in and play it, but they might be a little bit confused by the story, and I'm not entirely sure what the level requirement will be for Dawn of Ragnarök. Presumably if they want more people to play it they would lower it, but the difficulty level for Asgard was 90 and I believe Jotunheim was 130, so maybe around power level 200 that could be the limit or the requirement for Dawn of Ragnarök. From what we've seen in the cinematic trailer, we will once again be playing as Havi, and by the looks of it our goal will be getting our son Balder back, who has been kidnapped and held by the dwarves in Svartalfheim. I probably butchered that, but that is where he is being kept. Svartalfheim won't be the only realm that we will visit in Dawn of Ragnarök, as we will also be travelling to Muspelheim, and as we go to Muspelheim that also means that we will be getting suitor enemies, which are they're kind of similar to the frost giants that we saw in the Jotunheim arc, but instead of ice they're on fire, and Havi will need to use special weapons and abilities in order to defeat them. It has been said that Dawn of Ragnarok's open world will be 1/3 the size of that of England in the base game, which has me a little bit worried, as exploring England in the base game, some bits were a bit empty, and you knew at all times where things were because there were the blobs on the map, and I highly doubt that will change for Dawn of Ragnarok. But as it's bigger than both the maps in Wrath of the Druids and Siege of Paris, hopefully it's got more stuff to find and explore in it, rather than the normal stuff that we saw in the base game and those DLCs. We know a new thing that is being added is a arena that is run by a Valkyrie, and they also hold tournaments as well, so that'll be a new thing that we can partake in. A big part of this DLC is something called Hygge Rips that give Javi the ability to imbue themselves as well as their weapons with special effects like fire and ice, and these will be helpful when going up against the new suitor enemies as well as the ice giants. They aren't just limited to weapons, they can also be used to aid in traversal, as say for example there is a chest in the middle of a lake of lava. You can use some Hygge ability in order to swim through the lava without getting hurt. Another thing Hygge is used for is that it can also revive fallen enemies. So say you're fighting some frost giants and you just happen to be fighting some suitors before, you could revive them and they can help you fight the frost giants if you don't have, say, a fire based weapon, for example. You can get Hygge a few different ways. The main way is by defeating enemies and siphoning it from their corpses. A second way is by going to shrines of Yggdrasil scattered across the world and giving a portion of your health to get some Hygge back. Besides from Hygge, Javi will also have some new abilities as well. Like we saw in the cinematic trailer, they were able to shoot an arrow and then teleport to where the arrow has landed. They will also, like I mentioned earlier, be able to have fire and ice based attack and weapons. They will also be able to shapeshift into a raven to perform special attacks and possibly assassinations. As the DLC makes you control Javi and not Eivor, it is highly unlikely that Eivor will get most of the abilities that Javi gets in the DLC. The only ones I can see them getting are possibly the elemental imbued weapons, but maybe you'll get that through maybe completing the arena and the tournament, and maybe that somehow gives Eivor the ability to imbue their weapons with ice and fire. But I highly doubt that Eivor will get the ability to turn into a raven and fly about. And the last thing I would like to talk about is a rather boring topic, but it is how you actually access the story portion of the DLC. It's pretty easy. It'll be the same way as you did for the Asgard and Jotunheim. That is by going to Volker's hut and drinking a potion that she's brewed. What might happen is your settlement may have to be a certain level before you can actually drink the potion, or maybe it will be accessed from the second you unlock Valka's hut. That is everything that we currently know about Dawn of Ragnarok. If I've missed anything, please let me know in the comment section down below. And if you have enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you in another video.